In recent months, Scarlett Turner had become the face of an unstoppable cultural revolution. "My body, my rules" was not just a slogan, it was a manifesto. Her videos on Instagram and TikTok were more than viral. They were a symbol of resistance against outdated standards. She spoke of self-love, acceptance, and bodily freedom, mercilessly attacking diet culture and any attempt to question individual choices. What set her apart was her stance. Scarlett wasn't just another voice in the crowd. She was sponsored by major corporations that had figured out how to profit from inclusive discourse. Among them, Food Co., a giant in the food industry, was at the forefront. This company claimed to promote diversity and food inclusion, challenging labels and prejudices. For them, there were no good or bad foods, only freedom of choice. The commercials starring Scarlett were impactful. She danced in tight clothing, smiling while eating a triple burger. As slogans like, "You don't need to change anything to be perfect," filled the screen. With each sponsored post and every million-dollar contract signed, Scarlett cemented her image as an icon of modern acceptance. She didn't shy away from criticism and responded to offensive comments with emotional speeches about dismantling social oppression disguised as concern for health. But as her career skyrocketed, something unsettling lingered in the air. Behind the scenes, there was growing discomfort. Some of her statements began to sound contradictory, even to her most loyal followers. "Eating whatever you want is a political choice," she said, but her videos depicted such excessive consumption that even her most dedicated fans started to doubt. She had become not just the campaign's greatest advocate, but also its perfect product. Scarlett was the living image of what Food wanted to sell: guilt-free indulgence, limitless freedom. But the question that few dared to ask was, at what cost? Scarlett's story was supposed to be about empowerment, but whispers behind the scenes suggested she no longer controlled her narrative. In one of her most recent videos, something seemed off. The camera shook as she spoke with less conviction than usual. Her face was swollen, her breathing heavy. She hesitated for a moment before saying something that felt out of place. "You need to know. They're feeding me. I don't know who I am anymore." These words hung in the air like a shadow no one could ignore. Scarlett had always been a symbol of freedom, but now, rumors pointed to something much darker. What if the movement she had helped build was devouring its creator alive? Scarlett Turner was the embodiment of the body-positive movement and woke culture in the digital realm. With magnetic charisma, she won over millions of followers by challenging the dominance of traditional beauty standards and promoting the idea that all bodies are perfect. Her posts went beyond catchy phrases. They were acts of resistance against a society that, according to her, marginalized bodies that deviated from the Eurocentric, thin, oppressive standard. She started with casual TikTok videos, dancing unapologetically in tight, colorful outfits that defied fashion conventions. "Why hide who we are?" she said as her likes and shares soared. Soon, major brands began to notice her impact. But it was when she signed a contract with Food that Scarlett reached her peak. Its campaigns featured diverse bodies consuming burgers, fries, and sodas, with slogans like "Your health is a personal choice" and "Live guilt-free." Scarlett was the perfect face for the company, young, engaged, and most importantly, relentless against any criticism. On social media, she promoted boxes of sugary donuts and cheese-covered fries as symbols of empowerment. "Eating whatever you want is a revolutionary act," she said in one viral post while biting into a massive slice of pizza. "The system wants to control us, even in our food choices, but we won't allow it." Scarlett's rhetoric wasn't just about food. It was an ideological battle. She often used her videos to attack critics who questioned the impact of her campaigns on younger audiences. When a journalist published an article suggesting that glorifying excessive junk food consumption could lead to health problems, Scarlett responded with a video full of indignation. It's funny how they always blame the individual, never the system profiting from it. If I'm promoting anything, it's freedom. The freedom to live and eat without judgment. That video reached 10 million views in less than 24 hours. Scarlett had become an icon of the fight against what she called nutritional fascism. The internet adored her, or at least that's what her numbers indicated. Criticism was quickly drowned out by waves of support from her followers, who used hashtags like hashtag #MyBodyMyRules and hashtag #FreeYourHunger. She also participated in lectures and events where she discussed the intersectionality of beauty standards, fatphobia, feminism, and capitalism. At one of these events, sponsored by Fabrico, Scarlett said something that would become the flagship of her career. When a fat woman eats a cheeseburger in public, she's challenging centuries of oppression. When I do it, I don't just challenge, I destroy. And indeed, Scarlett was breaking barriers. But as her fame grew, something began to change. She noticed her hunger seemed insatiable. After each recording, she felt an almost desperate need to keep eating, as if something was driving her. The $1 million checks from Fabrico only motivated her to ignore any discomfort. Her audience kept applauding, but the messages started to shift. Small doubts began to emerge, and Scarlett fought them with her usual fervor. If you question what I do, you're part of the problem, but who is really in control? It was a question Scarlett didn't yet know she'd need to answer. She started to notice the changes when her fame hit its peak. She was hailed as the ultimate symbol of the body acceptance movement. Supporters applauded her campaigns, and critics were quickly silenced under accusations of fatphobia and symbolic violence. The world seemed to be spinning in her favor, but the first cracks began to appear subtly. It all started with food. Scarlett had always prided herself on eating whatever she wanted guilt-free, promoting the mantra, health is subjective. But suddenly, her desire for healthy foods, which she never completely rejected, vanished. Even fruits and vegetables began to taste like cardboard to her. It was as if her body rejected anything that wasn't ultra-processed, greasy, or sugary. Her advertising deals with Fabrico and other companies in the sector only reinforced her new diet. They sent weekly boxes of snacks and ready-made meals, claiming it was part of the contract. She ate on camera, encouraged by thousands of comments celebrating her authenticity. "This is what we need, a real woman," her followers said. But the reality was far from glorious. Scarlett began to notice an uncontrollable hunger that wasn't normal. Even after consuming absurd amounts of food, her stomach growled as if it were empty. At night, she woke up with a sense of emptiness, as if something inside her was crying out for more. As her hunger grew, so did the criticisms. A small group started questioning the values behind her campaign. Is this really healthy? Or is she being used by corporations profiting from illness? Scarlett ignored them, comforted by the applause of her fans and the support of the brands sponsoring her. With each sponsored post, she made fiery speeches. Your health is personal, and no one can tell you what's best for you. The real oppression is in the standards trying to control us. That behind Scarlett's perfect smile, things were falling apart. She began to gain weight at an alarming rate. It wasn't ordinary weight gain, but something disproportionate and bizarre. The weight accumulated in unusual parts of her body, as if swelling from the inside out. Her wrists looked fragile, while her thighs and abdomen grew to sizes that defied human anatomy. Followers started commenting, first out of concern. "Are you okay, Scarlett? You look a little different." Then, critically, "Is this still healthy?" Scarlett refused to listen. With the support of her brands and most loyal fans, she doubled down on her woke rhetoric. What you see as a problem is actually progress. I am living proof that perfection is an oppressive construct. My existence is resistance. But as her words ignited the internet, Scarlett was losing control of her own body. Her custom-made clothes no longer fit, in-person events became logistical nightmares, and her health began to show clear signs of decline. We cannot allow you to question what we've built together. Scarlett's nights became even more disturbing. Constant nightmares haunted her, but they didn't feel like ordinary dreams. She saw flashes of fast food products coming to life, swallowing her whole, while voices repeated her body-positive slogans. She woke up drenched in sweat, with the sensation of something crawling inside her, as if her own body had turned into a parasite. One morning, as she tried to film a new video, Scarlett noticed something strange in the camera's reflection. Her face looked different, not just larger, but deformed. Her eyes were swollen, as if being pushed outward from within. Her skin glistened with an oily layer, but it wasn't sweat. Something was undeniably wrong. Seeking help, Scarlett encountered the harsh reality of the movement she had helped build. Doctors hesitated to question her health, fearing social backlash and cancellations. Her followers insisted she was beautiful and empowered, while the company sponsoring her sent emails urging her to continue the campaign. "You are the revolution," they said. Over time, Scarlett began to avoid mirrors. Every glance felt like someone else was staring back at her, something hungry, something that seemed to feed on every compliment, every like, every false word of support she received. In her moment of despair, Scarlett recorded a tearful video begging for help. "Something is wrong with me. It's not just the weight. It's like I'm not myself anymore," but the video never aired. Food Body Co. immediately intervened, claiming that any doubts expressed would harm their message. Scarlett realized too late that she was no longer a person. She was a product, a symbol, a tool for something much larger, and something terrifyingly hungry. As she tried to fight back, the pieces began to fit together. Determined to uncover the truth, Scarlett began investigating. She hired a nutritionist to analyze Food Body Co.'s products. What he found was disturbing. The foods contained a mix of synthetic ingredients and chemicals that stimulated the brain to crave more while slowly altering metabolism. It was as if the products were designed to create dependency. But there was something even worse. A mysterious substance listed as a proprietary compound appeared to be the key to the adverse effects Scarlett was experiencing. Digging deeper, she discovered that the substance was linked to secret experiments conducted by Food Body Co. These experiments, carried out under the guise of inclusive innovation, aimed to create the perfect consumer, someone incapable of resisting, someone who embraced the narrative of acceptance while becoming dependent on the products. Scarlett realized she wasn't just a spokesperson. She was the prototype for a much bigger plan. One night, while checking the labels on the products sent to her, Scarlett found something odd, a hidden QR code on one of the packages. Curious, she scanned the code, which led her to an unlisted website. The site displayed disturbing videos of influencers like her, each looking more deteriorated than the last. The videos showed their final messages before they vanished from social media. "I thought I was fighting for something bigger," said one influencer, "but this is consuming me, literally." Scarlett's stomach turned as she continued watching. It was as if these people had become food for something larger than anyone could imagine. Suddenly, a chat window popped up on the screen. A message blinked in red letters, "You are next." At that moment, Scarlett felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. She looked down and saw her skin pulsating, as if something alive was trying to break free. She ran to the bathroom, and as she looked at herself in the mirror, she saw with horror that her skin was stretching and slightly tearing, revealing what looked like Food? Fat oozed from her body, mixed with chunks of processed products. The creature inside her was a living reflection of the campaigns she had promoted, a grotesque mass of everything she had consumed, now taking shape. When it finally emerged, the entity stared at Scarlett with cold, hungry eyes. "You created me, Scarlett," it said, smiling with a mouth full of teeth made of French fries. "You are what you eat. And now, you are what I eat." In that moment, Scarlett realized the cruel irony of her situation. She had become a symbol of acceptance, but that acceptance was a one-way Trappist snare feeding something far more insidious. A system that thrived on the physical and psychological destruction of those who dared to believe in it. The creature advanced, and Scarlett felt her consciousness fade, consumed by the monster she had helped create. The next day, a new face emerged as Food Bodyco's ambassador. The narrative continued, but Scarlett had become just another ingredient.